most people, I dare say most of us at Holy Trinity this morning, underrate our value and diminish our worth. We somberly chant from the Book of Common Prayer, page 5, we have left undone those things that we ought to have done, and we have not done those things that we ought to have done, that there is no health in us. Mea culpa, how unworthy I am. And yet we scarcely pay time or attention to the absolution which follows, freeing us from all of that supposed unworthiness, pronouncing joy and a new beginning. Well, if you feel insignificant at times, then I ask you to listen to this poem. I read it from one of my treasured possessions. It's a book bequeathed to me by my mother. It's all tattered, you can see. And it's all in her own penmanship. Perhaps I'll put it at the back of the church afterwards for a few of you who might be interested. Mom studied elocution. She recited poetry and readings from Shakespeare, the length and breadth of Ireland. And more particularly, she would read poetry to my sister, Joan, and to me as we went to bed at night. Now, this selection is very sentimental. It's old-fashioned. It's out of date. It uses language that is not inclusive, and yet it continues to inform my values, my dignity, my self-worth. It's called The Touch of the Master's Hand. I know some of you know it, and in fact Noel and Matt and Claire read this about 4 years ago at my retirement party from St. James, Westminster. "'Twas battered, scarred, and the auctioneer thought it scarcely worth his while to waste his time on the old violin, but he held it up with a smile. "'What am I bidding, good people?' he cried. "'Who'll start the bidding for me? $1, $1, now $2, only $2, and who'll make it $3? $3 once, $3 twice, going for $3? But no, from the back of the room, a gray-haired man came forward and picked up the bow. Then wiping the dust from the old violin and tightening up the strings, he played a melody pure and sweet as an angel sings. The music ceased, and the auctioneer, with a voice that was quiet and low, said, "What am I bid for the old violin?" And he held it up with the bow. $1,000, and who'll make it $2? $2,000, and who'll make it $3? $3,000 once, $3,000 twice, and going and gone, said he. The people cheered, but some of them cried, "We don't quite understand. What change is worth?" Swift came the reply, "The touch of the master's hand." And many a man with a life out of tune and battered and torn by sin is auctioned cheap to a thoughtless crowd, much like the old violin. A mess of pottage, a glass of wine, a game, and he travels on. He is going once, he is going twice, he is going and almost gone. But the master comes, and the foolish crowd never can quite understand the worth of a soul and the change that's wrought by the touch of the master's hand. I don't very often feel sorry for myself, but when I do, I turn first to the book of Psalms. We'll hear about that in a moment, and to my mother's book of elocution. I won't auction myself off cheaply. When we do or say or think something that's less than noble, and I dare say that's a regular, even daily thing for most of us, the master comes to wipe off the dust and tighten up the strings and give us a new beginning. Confession, penitence, almsgiving, prayer, the study of Scripture, all help us to reclaim our true identity. Weekly worship, confession, and absolution are those liturgical tools which allow us to hold our heads up high and celebrate our infinite worth. A boxer about to enter the ring was warned by his trainer about his opponent. Your opponent weighs 30 pounds more than you do. Your opponent has arms that are 3 inches longer than yours. He is 6 inches taller. He is the best boxer in the district. He is a much, much better boxer than you are or ever will be. But you have one great advantage. You won't be overconfident. Now, the humor, of course, comes from the fact that we so often lack confidence, lack strength, lack trust in ourselves.